Vodafone presents the pre-match.
ESL One Hamburg 2018 continues here live from the Barclaycard Arena. We've already had our first series of the day. My goodness, what a series it was. If you missed it, it's because you blinked and it was over in a flash. The fastest game so far of ESL One Hamburg happened to be the second game between EG and Complexity. EG have made their way through, guaranteed themselves a top 6 spot. We've lost another team though. Complexity are done. We're going to lose another one as well before the day is out. It's paiN versus Forward. That's our next matchup. Before we get there, I wanted to give you a flavour, something that we've enjoyed as a talent team, as players and managers and what have you that have come out here for the second consecutive year, because Hamburg City, the second largest city in Germany, is an absolutely wonderful place to be.
Welcome to the gate to the world. Welcome to Hamburg, a destination for trade for centuries and one of the biggest trading spots still today. Is there a better place to meet other people? To cross the boundaries that divide us? Is there a better place to open yourself up to the world than the second busiest and largest port in Europe? The warm heart of the city of Hamburg welcomes different cultures from every corner of the world. It's full of historic sites, like the Speicherstadt, City of Warehouses, awarded status of UNESCO World Heritage Site. A city that combines the past with the present. A city where you can see what the future of architecture will look like. Just take a look at the Elbphilharmonie, Hamburg's new pride, and see it for yourself. A prosperous city, home of millionaires and billionaires. Northern Germany's centre for shopping and culture. A city proud of its heritage, buildings that stood the test of time. But also a city that likes to party and lots of fun and esports. The city that for the second year in a row is the home of Europe's biggest Dota 2 festival. Hamburg is all of those cities in one place. The legacy continues at ESL One Hamburg 2018. Come and see for yourself. Herzlich willkommen.
There you go, some shots and some words of the wonderful city of Hamburg. We truly enjoy coming here. It's been a fabulous experience. Now, we've had a little bit of a change. We've got some stand-ins here on the desk, stepping up. It's like, same as the teams change players. We change talent on the desk as well. And we welcome back Blitz and Kat alongside Kyle. How are you doing, gents?
Stand-ins.
Yeah, I see, but it's good though, because I thought you might have a little bit of resistance for this, but look how well EG are doing with the stand-in.
We'll see. We'll see how well they go in their next round. We'll see how well Forward does with a stand-in as well. That's obviously
15
two of the
minutes,
biggest.
Cap.
Yes.
15.
Yes.
When was the last time you commentated a game that was faster than that?
Didn't EG lose in like 9 minutes or something earlier in the tournament?
No.
Yeah, I think they got raxed in 8 minutes by paiN. I'm pretty sure this is like...
For a main event inside of a stadium, I've never had a more one-sided stomp than that.
Yeah, unfortunately for Complexity, but I guess it's okay. Let's just wrap up on that one. I want to get some thoughts from you as well, Blitz, on EG's progress through that. It was very good.
It was, but we shouldn't overrate things because we've seen how the flip side looks, and I'm not yet convinced that one day was enough to change everything around. They played a Complexity team that I think is a little bit weak and got outdrafted. I could just as easily see them run into Secret, get 2-0'd in 20 minutes, and suddenly the narrative would change, so pump the brakes a little bit.
All right, okay. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to touch on Complexity too much, but their best players buying all the awards. They're going to go to the minor in a few days, and I hope there's some changes made. Pretty frustrated seeing, never mind. Let's talk about paiN. Let's talk about Forward gaming.
I thought watching Complexity was a pain for you, Kyle.
What?
I thought watching Complexity was a pain for you.
On a serious note, how's your brother going to be after this? Is he kind of philosophical? Yeah, we thought we'd get top 8. We got top 8. That's okay. That's progress.
I mean, it's the first event with a new player.
Yeah.
It's more that obviously it takes a lot of time to improve and to get better as a team, but it doesn't take very long to identify what your issues are. And I'm not sure, you know, the way this season works, everything is pretty quick. They're going to go to the minor, and then they got to win that. Otherwise, there's nothing to do but watch a major, play those quals. Like you have a very limited amount of time to get experience against high-level teams to try and make it to like the next major. You don't want to be sitting at home through December, January, hoping for, you know, another ESL to pop up.
All right, let's put you out of your misery. Let's move on. We'll move on to the man misery. It's paiN Gaming versus Ford. We'll start with paiN Gaming. Where are they right now? Are they better? Are they worse than they were pre-TI?
They're better, still inconsistent.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be better for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Is this,
I think
is
it's
this
still
the
a little
hard
hard
gap?
to tell.
Is this the
but
hard bit where they go through this kind of change that's really painful to kind of move through, and they don't really want to do it, but they know they've got to do it, and they'll come out the other side better?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that they brought Misery on as coach, and I think it was pretty clear that if you can have Misery on your team, you'd love to be able to have him because he gives you really good drafts. He's just a strong captain to be able to fit everyone into one vision. They've had some interesting ideas about drafting as well. I think one of the most interesting pickups they've had is this HFN, Nature's Prophet, and we'll see, like, they've had decent success with that. We'll see as they continue into the main event how much they prioritize that.
I'm sure it'll still be high priority. I can't believe they're the only team picking it. Again, I point to No Tail, Game 5 versus LGD, just absolutely dominating FY Shaker in the laning phase, having crazy high impact. If you can play it as well as they do on HFN at the 1 position as well, like, you have to ban that hero, and I'd be very surprised if paiN picks that up even once this series. That's first ban.
We had this Bounty Hunter pickup that we hadn't really seen anything of. It's paiN just have like a lot of unique heroes in their roster.
I mean, that was the MVP Immortals special, like the Korean stack. Like, they would pick Fury and Bounty Hunter first too. That was a big part of why they were so successful back at TI5. Once people figured that out, you know, and they had to play strategies that didn't give you utter map dominance, just the product of these two heroes. Like, it's real Dota now.
Yeah.
Bounty Fury is just, you get two heroes that can show up anywhere on the map at any time. It's so difficult to play against.
Is that a problem for paiN Blitz right now? Do they not have a lack of depth in strategies and different things that they know will work for them?
I think their biggest issue, rather than anything, is just the fact that they sometimes have a hard time controlling themselves in-game, which I think was what Misery was supposed to change. And sometimes you can see it. Like, sometimes there's a lot more discipline in their play, but other times you just see HFN TP to his death 3 times in a row and pretty much ruin his own game.
Yeah.
They need to stop doing stuff like that. When he was coaching on the team, I asked him about it. I was like, how is it working with these guys? He's like, it's hard sometimes because you can't really change who they are.
Yeah.
They're running your team, they want to take fights, but at the same time, when you get to these high levels, other teams are expecting that. They're going to use your aggression against you. And he's saying that he needs to be able to mold that. It's like his weird spear analogy that he used the other day. He's like, everyone's got spears, we can't just keep running into them and being surprised.
Yeah, no, it's a great analogy. Let's move on. Forward Gaming are the opponents. Where do you rate them right now? Difficult because, again, another team with a stand-in.
I've got some inside information, talking with my man Jack last night in the player lounge, and he was like maniacally laughing, like rubbing his hands together, because they figured out what it is Excalibur needs to be activated and really complement the current roster, and I think that they're going to have something special prepared.
Okay.
I can't leak.
I was going to say, can't say too much because obviously plans are not far away.
So you know what this specialty hero is.
Well, that's
Is that
the
what you're
thing. They
saying?
realized Excalibur is all about the specialty heroes. And he's not an honorable Dota player. All right. He's all about those the cheese.
Okay. So he's in the same sort of style as Matumba Man. Doesn't care if you don't like what he plays.
No.
He likes Venos and he likes Broods.
Not
you know?
that kind of cheese.
Okay.
We're talking about Gorgonzola, not that pleasant
We're
Parmesan.
limiting it too much now for them.
Too many cheese analogies of my liking right now. That's for sure. Blitz, what have you made of them? As again, same question really, but hard to really figure where they are with the standing right now.
Without their stand-in, they're one of my favorite teams. I think they play a very good style of Dota. I feel like the individual skill across the board is very good. They do a good job of drafting. They have 1 or 2 all-star players. I think you just need 1 or 2 all-star cores. I think that Yawara is steadily getting a lot better. When he first entered the scene, because of his brother, obviously, there are expectations. And they came up around the same time. He was kind of the forgotten brother, and when we saw him on that DC team, it felt like he choked way too much. But slowly but surely, he's kind of worked that out, and he's been having these LAN performances. I remember when Rezo first joined the team, They ended up winning their first event. They got second at the very next event. I feel like he's really putting things on. But with Excalibur, of course, it's hard to read too much into it. And I think the team is kind of in the same idea. They're saying to themselves, like, we're using a stand-in. It's not really our 5-man roster. Let's just try the best that we can. And I still think they're a pretty deadly team. But of course, it's an awkward adjustment period because they're such different players, Yawar and Excalibur.
Okay,
That's the biggest problem.
we're going to get some more from you in just a moment, but our Vodafone View friends are ready, so let's find out what they've got to tell us.
Thanks, Red Eye. Yes, it's time for the Vodafone View once again. I'm here with the prim and proper Purge. Ooh,
Hello.
Looking good today, buddy.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I
you
wish
got
I could
it.
say the same.
Oh, that's kind of you.
You tried a little.
Shut up, Purge. Let's get into the players first, buddy. I have got 2 big ones to watch this one. Are you ready for me?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Weehaw Resolution, baby. That's all you got to put your eyes on these 2, Purge.
But they play different roles.
I don't care if they play different roles. I mean, you can't have the 2 exact same guys every single time. These are the 2 hypest players.
Is that just because you have history with them?
That's absolutely right. Now, let me tell you about back at TI6, when we got second place together, I taught them everything that they knew. And these guys, it's sad to see them pitted up against each other. I'm not quite sure who's going to come out first.
Where do you think, what about Misery? They got 2 former DC players. Surely that means you're cheering for paiN here?
It would, you would think.
No? That was just a...
Well, you know, I like underdogs. I feel like Forward Gaming, you know, they've got a lot going on there. You know.
paiN didn't make it out of groups at TI. Forward Gaming got a good placement. So you're cheering for paiN then?
Yes. So, Parts, just talk to me about the players. Why do you have to do this? You and your...
Well, okay. Weehaw is a fantastic mid player. That's
Yeah.
very clear. He's a little chaotic, but in a good way, and his peak is so high that even his low is not that much lower than his average anyways. And then on the other side, Resolution is extremely stable and almost always does amazing in his games. So, I mean, there's new players in the game. Weehaw's going to be playing against Excalibur in the mid. Maybe he'll get some advantage there. And then on the other side, Resolution's going to probably do typical things, which means do really well.
But I measure my good players by who's better at Invoker. Invoker's the hardest hero, and both of them have played it before. Resolution, he let that one go, but Weehaw is still the Invoker god. Does that make him better overall?
I mean, Invoker's definitely a good hero right now, and it can make a big difference in the mid lane, and especially because it helps the rest of your team get a lot of kills around the map if you get any stuns or disables, but it might not be everything to the match because, again, it still kind of relies on how well your lanes are doing, and what we saw in the first series, that was everything. So lanes are a big deal.
All right, so out of those 2, which one are you going for?
I think Forward Gaming definitely has the advantage. I mean, they've done a little bit, they did a little better in groups. They've historically done better as well, but paiN does have that chaos factor.
Well, I'm all about chaos, baby. I'm going to be going with paiN Gaming on this one. Let's go, boys! And I think that'll do it for our Vodafone player segment. Back to you guys on the panel.
Thanks very much. Very enjoyable, of course. Thanks, Purge. I always wanted to say that. Thanks, Reaction Slacks, as well. Kyle, does it upset you greatly that Reaction Slacks has finished higher at a TI than you?
I was playing mid, though. All he had to do was cheerlead.
I'd take the cheerleading for finishing second every
You know
time.
what I'm
65-35, the fans say, in favour of Forward Gaming. Does that feel about right to you, or do you feel like paiN might have a slight advantage?
I think a lot of it's going to come down to the draft. I'd say it's closer to like 60-40, but the thing is, I think Forward has a lot more potential to outdraft their opponents because SVG, he's going to be prepped. I love listening in on him like talk about other teams because I'm sure he said something along the lines about this fear, like, guys, no. Like, they don't want to theory craft. He's like, I'm not doing it. I can't copy his voice properly, but that guy is a treat, and I think he's going to be ready for this series.
Okay. Well, which way is it going as a series?
I work with both these teams, or players on each of the teams, the whole DC. So it's hard for me to be objective, but I think that objectively Forward is the better team.
Okay.
Even with the stand-in, I think they're just a little bit more prepared and they have a disciplined style.
They're almost ready to come out Cap quickly.
I agree. I think Forward is the better team all around. It's just a question of whether or not they can fit Excalibur into their roster to make it look good.
All right, good stuff. More from all of these 3 reprobates after this, though, because it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome the teams to the Barclaycard Arena.
Thank you very much, Paul and gentlemen. It is now time for our second match for our tournament. Come on, guys, let's get the hype back. Let's hear that. Very nice. Very nice. That was wild. That was wild. Just like an animal. All right, let's get this started. Our first team to the stage, paiN Gaming. the boys from Brazil, representing SA. We got some love over there. There you go. Right here up on stage, showing some love to our team. One more time, give it up for paiN Gaming. Let's welcome their opponents, Forward Gaming. Give it up for Forward Gaming! We got a hype and exciting match coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, paiN Gaming versus Forward Gaming. Give them a big hand as we get our second match started. Here we go.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Yes, welcome to Forward and paiN Gaming to the main stage, and we've seen how it affects the boys from Brazil before, haven't we? ESL One Birmingham. They were absolutely fantastic, loved playing on the stage. Let's see whether they can rise to the occasion. And of course, on the other side, Forward Gaming was VGJ Storm last season as well, plus Universe, but now minus Yawar, unfortunately. Commiserations to him on the visa front, but they do have a very good standing indeed. Excalibur playing alongside the team. Let's get more thoughts just before we head towards the draft from our three panel members. Kyle, I want to start with you. You've already mentioned the Prophet as one of the key parts of how paiN could potentially win this game. What's the key for Forward, draft-wise?
I think definitely activating Excalibur. It feels like he's a bit weaker in lane. I think Weeha, world-class mid for quite some time, second place TI, major winner. I don't want to see Excalibur in a disadvantageous matchup. I visualize like his Invoker versus a Wii TA. Like, you can't really come back from that sort of thing if you're a more professionally and experienced player. And I just think he's got to have a great game. But Resolution, he's the best player in this game, arguably the tournament. He's got a lot of fans. He deserves that title. He is world class. And I think if he has a great game, he might just do it himself.
Has he shown us all of that just yet?
I mean, it feels like Kyle is a little bit at odds with himself when it comes to that, right? You want to be able to set Excalibur up, but you're also saying Resolution is the best player on the team. And in this meta right now, we're having these like hard carries that are kind of like the trump cards for all of these games. So like, oh, this Morphling is going to be the best hero in this game. It's going to be the one that actually gives you your win condition. So it feels like an awkward place that Forward's in, where they're like, yes, we need to enable Excalibur as best as possible, but it also means we're leaving our best, possibly our best player, but our safe lane carry kind of out to dry, possibly, when it comes to the draft.
Let me rephrase then. Excalibur can't be a liability.
Okay. Well, that's a better way to put that. So we're going to just try and give him a matchup then that is good in the laning phase, but we're still going to focus on Resolution getting that last pick.
Sure. Sounds about right. But I do think you're going to last pick Excalibur's hero, though. I feel like it's just way more value to get last pick mids than it is for the cores. Like, at the end of the day, it's going to be some TB, Morphling, PL, Luna, etc. There's no real benefit to saving them for last, whereas if you can get the last pick and Excalibur plays a lot of these heroes, the Tinkers, the Storms, Invoker, Meepo, Brood, TA, those are pretty scary with nothing left in the arsenal to respond.
Yeah, they're going to have to be careful with some of that.
Yeah, and we've seen in this tournament already that you can just get last pick, instantly lose the game. We saw it yesterday in the VP series. Yeah, exactly. They set it up for the Huskar the second time around.
Yeah.
The thing, Paul, is that they hit it very well.
The first time around was amazing, because the Drow got hidden in that draft as well, right?
Exactly.
Just before, it was the one before, I think it was fourth pick, wasn't it?
Yes, they did a really good job of hiding their draft, and then they didn't do it game 2. Then all of a sudden came through, they're like, let's do it up again, boys. So you have to be careful of not putting yourself in that same position, because I think Forward especially is a really good team at that. They can just surprise you with stuff like that. With the stand-in, they're going to be a little bit more loose. Whereas paiN, I feel like we've seen most, or roughly how they want to play. They want to play around Archangel or HFN, playing some active hero on the map, trying to get Weehaw involved as early as possible and just run at people.
Well, they've ruined it for us because we spent the last 20 minutes talking about the Prophet, and they're just going to get rid of it.
Told you. It's like
It's a unique hero advantage, right?
SVG,
It's too big for them, isn't it?
in addition to being the Iceman, which
Yeah.
is now his new nickname after I saw him just stone cold walk on stage, 100% focused. There's no way he's giving anybody freebies like that.
He did not pass out a single high five in
Didn't
his
give a
walk to the
glance.
stage. He went from SVG's to
Focused, boys.
he was all business, all theory crafting. So it'll be interesting to see. It's interesting, like you seem to value SVG as a drafter really highly, but he's matched up against Misery, who has, I would say, a much deeper experience when it comes to being the captain and being the drafter.
Experience only counts for so much. I think when the patch is this fleshed out, it's more about someone's just general understanding and feel for the game. And I think SVG is one of the best captains in Dota, to be completely honest.
That is high praise from a captain himself.
He's the best captain currently in North America.
Ooh. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, hold on, because Peter's in Europe.
So Peter's in Europe. What about Fly then?
Wow.
What about him, Cap?
That's
Just
saucy.
kidding. Fly's really good too.
Kyle's over here
It's
trying to
close.
buy American as much as he can. All right, what's going to be left in the pool?
Drow.
No Drow,
Phoenix, Enigma. I think if you're Forward, you probably don't open Enigma, right? Don't you just, doesn't paiN just grab Silencer then? Isn't it better to grab Phoenix here? Or
I don't know, people stop picking Silencer. It feels like that's still just a China thing at the moment. The West has moved away from it.
You could do
Dazzle.
just an Ogre and just open, like not revealing anything, basically.
So they've opened Dazzle, Shaker, Shaman.
I could see an
And
Axe.
Phoenix.
With Necro Band, I think Axe could be real strong here.
Ooh,
Axe,
you're right.
Phoenix, something like that.
Okay.
So it is the Phoenix. I think Phoenix is still, I think it's more versatile than the Enigma too.
Yeah, it is.
And I think in this position when you're first pick, you can save the Enigma for second pick. Like you can draft it after the two.
Who said they're gonna first pick Enigma? That's not a thing.
No, I'm just saying that's why you wouldn't. Even though he's a really popular hero.
I mean, I just don't think it's first phaseable. Like, it's one of those heroes. It's like if you pick it fourth and the enemy squad has nothing to deal with it yet, like all of a sudden they need to address Enigma with their next couple picks, and the last doesn't even really. You can't think about it. But when you open with it, I'm just not a fan. It's like imagine people first doing Huskar, right? I think it's just as egregious.
I mean, they were doing it last series, both games, right? Both teams first two'd Enigma,
Yeah.
just with wildly different results. And so this is, I think, the correct response to this. This is why it also stops the Enigma, and it's just good against the Phoenix. But I think if you're Forward here, you're probably thinking about the Axe, right?
The Axe?
Yeah, you just run at him.
I would say so. I think especially when you see the Ogre, you just want something that can bully it back. Treant is also very acceptable in this position, but you certainly want another support that offers a lot of lockdown to protect the egg.
Yeah.
If you went even a week ago, we would have seen Rana instantly 1-2 when you see a Phoenix first pick. Why do you think that hero has fallen off and we're choosing Silencer as the counter instead? Because you could have gotten Mirana Ogre.
Yeah, you could have. It feels like.
Oh, they take their draw. We forgot about
Oh
that.
God, I didn't even see it. All right.
I keep thinking about Vici J Storm.
Yeah.
So when I see Forward, it doesn't register in my head that they're.
I just can't believe they got a Drow. How did?
I mean, I mentioned it, the fact that they hadn't gone through the first phase bans. It seems odd.
Has Forward lost with Drow in
They
like
did.
months?
They lost versus VP earlier.
I mean, does that count though? They always lose to VP.
And they had a stand-in. So it's not their full Joe strat, but it is their best strategy.
Yeah, by far. I think they're the reason. Obviously, Draw's been around forever, but they brought that to TI as their best strat, and it pretty much made it a must ban or pick for the rest of the event for everybody because it seemed like free games.
It also is a hero that's going to be able to enable Excalibur, since we're probably going to be having Resolution playing the Draw Ranger, so we're saving Excalibur's pick for later on in the draft.
Yeah.
It's only their third Drow game since TI. I did like the fact that the first time they used the Drow was against J Storm.
Really?
It seemed kind of poetic. was in the Dota Summit qualifiers.
This is one of the downsides of opening with your 2 supports, although theoretically the Ogre can be core. We've seen that a couple times. You just don't have much to adapt now, and you have no way of getting on top of the Drow.
Wait, does that guy have a forward gaming tattoo?
There are fake tattoos available.
Oh, I was like, that is a commitment.
Or jumps in
All in.
instantly.
I've seen
All
like
in early.
I've seen teams fall apart quite quickly, Paul. I was like, that is bold.
Bold and brave, all at the same time.
So you're going to ban Mirana and maybe, what, Visage? 2 heroes you're really scared of whenever there's a draw.
You could.
I think you have to ban Visage with your 2 supports.
Yeah.
My goodness.
You have, like, those heroes just get, sounds like we get eaten up by a Visage.
If you're paying, do you open then Weaver? Are you thinking about that? It's good against Dro. It's good against Phoenix.
Wait, which hero?
Weaver.
It's not good against Drow at all, man. You catch a silence, you're dead.
That's what. I mean, it looked okay in the game where Secret played it against. What was that team? Was it VP?
I don't know. I wouldn't pick it into Drow. I think it's a Drow favored matchup for sure.
Okay.
You need to, and especially with these 2 supports, I'd agree with you if they had more ability to output pressure. If there's a Furion on their team.
Kyle, they took it. They immediately grabbed out. Kyle, I've been reading this draft from the get-go.
I mean, you're right, but they're wrong.
You're like 2 steps behind me, man.
I don't know.
Keep
maybe
up, son.
I mean, there's maybe a reason you're not coaching teams anymore, Will.
Oh.
You see, Paul, the only way to really win this contest between the 2 of them is just not to play it off.
I'm with you, Cam. I think we've won.
I'm just not going to predict anything from here on out. Just let them 2 go at it.
Ding, round 3.
Okay. So what? All right. I'm paying your forward.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you take
There's
axe.
the axe.
You want to put a slap bet on it right now?
I don't want to put a slap bet on it. Wow.
That's what I thought.
I'm just saying, if you're picking heroes, you didn't even guess the axe in time.
I said that they would. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he called the axe.
Thank
He
you,
called the
Paul.
axe as a 1-2, but
We
he-
both
he-
called that as a 1-2. That doesn't
Well,
really count.
it would have been, but they left their best hero,
They did.
and they're like, "I will grab this first." I feel like this is already an impossible Weaver game, personally. You got to worry about a taunt and a silence. You die in both very easily. And the lanes for forward are also going to be better.
Let's see, what are the carry heroes left for paiN? Like Morph? Or Luna?
Yeah.
Is it Luna that's left over?
I think this is one of the rare scenarios. I think you have to save it for last pick.
Yeah. I would have taken like Luna or Ursa based on what I see.
Maybe, see, I would say something like Flanks, but you already have Weaver. It's tough.
You have to be careful of Morphling pickup for forward since they do have a draw.
Morph's prevent.
All right, I'm sorry, do so.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot. You still have no real method of killing the Drow right now. I think you need some reach, but you're also lacking tower damage.
If you're paiN, you think you take your mid hero? Because you'd have your last pick overall. And if we're saying that the carry hero doesn't matter as much, I'd take like something like Ursa and Luna and be okay with it.
I don't know, man.
The Invoker's still in there.
You could brood, but I feel like anytime you can get a brood. Oh, jeez, Will.
The hits just keep on coming.
4-3, Will.
Just keep on coming.
The
Trent, you feel me, right?
the problem is
Oh, the problem.
I can do your job for you on forward as well, if you like.
I feel like we need production to get a new
the problem
scoreboard
is
going.
you have so many heroes now. All you got to worry about if you're forward is keeping this Ursa from getting on top of you.
What's next, Kyle?
And I don't know, man. I feel like they can just go something like Venno here. You could still TA. That they have a lot of. You can even Invoker, honestly. All you need is the ability to peel the Ogre. And if you have some sort of purge, it's quite nice because it removes Bloodlust as a factor. You can also purge the Overpower, which is something a lot of people still don't do.
I like the Venno idea. I think that's quite nice.
Yeah, it feels like all forward has to do is protect the Drow and the Phoenix, right? As long as they can keep those heroes alive at the start of an engagement, paiN will run out of damage. Like, it's very much a hit and run type lineup where they're going to try and get that initial pick off and an Ogre stun with an Ursa jump, maybe a Weaver, and then they want to continue to chase, right? But if forward's able to just kind of clump up into a ball and say, fight me, bro, like there isn't really much they can do to puncture through the defense.
What about something like Lina? I feel like you just want something that can play the space game too.
Lina's banned as well.
Oh.
Leave forward to me, Will. Stick to paiN.
Difficult decision for forward to make after that Ursa.
Well, this is always the spot you should waste your time if you're first pick, because you're effectively talking about the 2 heroes you want, and which one would you take here and ensure it's not banned. I mean, TA is great. I think it's like TA Invoker.
You don't think Invoker's kind of annoying to play against paiN's lineup?
There's the TA.
Okay, okay.
I'm enjoying the matchup.
So for paiN,
Very
if I'm
much.
last picking, let's see. You're going to get some kind of mid hero that deals okay with a TA that has draw or
I mean, I think TA denies Brood in a lot of ways, especially with an Axe on the squad already. So that's removed. I don't think paiN can play Invoker either. If I'm forward here, I'd probably ban Batrider and then just look to pick some safe lane support, really. I think you might core the Phoenix here. I think this is an MSS Phoenix.
So
or
paiN
not, as a Universe Phoenix, rather.
yeah. And despite having Silence on their team, they do ban Enigma out.
It's just, it'd be too much for them to try and go through. They have heroes with a lot of static damage output. They have the window of a silence to find kills. If you go up against a hero that can itemize purely for these utility items to keep his teammates alive, you're just never going to do enough DPS.
Yeah. Could you do something like Alcare on the side of paiN?
You could, but I don't think it favors you. Look at the amount of map control forward's going to be able to take. They can just get a slight lead in the lanes. And TA beats out pretty hard mid, 1v1.
So what's your last hero for forward then? What are you doing SVG?
Okay, yeah, it's a Universe Phoenix, and they just pick a 5. I like that. I really think that this is such a good core Phoenix game. A 5 Phoenix, you're going to be susceptible to Ursa Weaver just killing the egg, right? But when you get this core Phoenix, that means the 90 GPM talent comes online faster, you get a Shiva's faster, and right now it's just survivability. That's the name of the game. Rasta increases the death ball potential of forward, and it just feels like an easy game for them to win. And what hero does paiN pick, Will?
Alchemist?
Damn.
Read that before the last pick of forward. Kyle, I got their entire draft.
Yeah, okay. Are you proud of it? Do you think they're going to win?
Oh,
That's the
absolutely
key.
not. If they went with me, things went horribly wrong.
Yeah. Kudos to Will. He earns a lot of credit for his predictions, but that draft is, that's going to be rough. Look at the synergies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are all above average synergies. What we're saying here by the lines connecting the two is that it's above average in terms of success rates, and there's quite a lot of success on forward gaming side, that's for sure. Those are the synergies. What are the predictions, Kyle?
Yeah, forward all the way. They don't lose with the Drow, especially when they have a better lineup. This is not going to be close.
Okay.
I feel like out of spite, I have to. I'm pretty much.
Ride and die,
Let's
brother.
go paiN.
Ride and die.
Let's go paiN.
Okay.
I'm definitely going forward. 100%. It's a Drow Ranger lineup and a good one at that.
All right, okay. Good Drow lineup. Our lineup is complete in terms of who has predicted what. Let's find out how the teams shake out as we hand you over to our commentary team for this one. Odie, Pixel, and Trent.
Thank you very much, Red Ice. Game 1 of paiN Gaming versus Forward Gaming. I'm Odie Pixel. I'll be joined by Trent for this one. The panel, they saw the Drow strat. They're liking it a lot. What are you thinking, Trent? Do paiN have the means to slow things down, get to this point where this Alk is just farming away, handing out the Ags, get to this late game where they can have a chance, or are they going to get run over by the Drow?
We've seen it work. Teams have done the Alchemist versus the Drow. He's kind of an old standard. Like you hold, a little bit of D push going on there. So maybe they can get there. It's all about that Radiance timing. And then getting some good fights in perhaps the Blink Dagger. So see if they can indeed. I kind of have to lean towards the Drow myself just because of how well they've played it as of late. But by no means is this one over.
Absolutely not. Well, let's see as we get ourselves into the action of this one. Game 1 of paiN Gaming versus Forward. Forward as well, bringing a bit of a new hero, the MSS Shadow Shaman. Not a hero that we see a lot of teams like to work with, but of course, synergizes super nicely when they're going for this Drow strat. As if they do get ahead in the lanes, they can push like no tomorrow.
Yeah, it's true. It just even getting like a tier 1 and a tier 2 in a single push is not the most difficult thing when this guy's on your team. So always something to be a bit worried about if you're on the side of paiN.
And let's see what sort of lanes we're going to get coming out. So at the moment, Rezo and MSS up towards the top lane. The two of them, they will be up against, by the look of it, of course, Tavo, this off-lane Ogre Magi. Going to be on this top lane. He's got the 3 Mangoes. Will be backed up by the Silencer, so they can put a decent amount of rest onto this Drow. I mean, do you feel this duo can sort of suppress the Drow's early game enough?
Yeah, curious to watch this one up here. I guess we'll see if they can really get that pressure on top with the Ogre. I mean, it all comes down to MSS, right?
Yeah.
The main power of the Shadow Shaman is that you can just keep on punching people and getting double denies. Mostly the denies, honestly, feels like the better part of this hero because your range is so short. You can see you can't get that many attacks in there, especially if like a slow gets chucked out from Tavo. But more interestingly, the support Ursa, always a fun one to watch, in my opinion.
Well, that's certainly true. And of course, did receive one of the more recent nerfs was sort of with the duration of the stacks. You know, when he starts to punch into you, it's less of that hit, and then suddenly you have this debuff on you for so long that you're very worried about being hit another time and then another. It will wear off that little bit quicker. So one of the reasons why support Ursa, no one else is really doing it at the moment.
See how on their game they are right now for the side of Forward. Because Misery's hanging out, hoping that courier's gonna be coming down here soon. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case, though.
And we'll be interested to see how the mid lane works out. Excalibur, we've seen him mid for the most part. Some of the games, they did move him away from the mid if they felt that he could have a better lane elsewhere, and they could sort of rely on Rezo to sort of take over the mid lane. But he's back to mid. He's on the TA against the Alk. Does have that Drow Aura too, so should have the potential to have a pretty good start in this 1v1.
Yeah, a lot of his game then comes down to those neutral camps nearby and seeing if there's any sort of an invasion from Forward Gaming. It gets a little bit tough, I find, in these TA versus Alk games once the TA hits 6, because she loves to try and get some traps over there to help the supports on your team, or even just herself kind of scout out that Alchemist and maybe put a little bit of pressure on him there. So we are very experienced on the Alk, but it doesn't look like a game where he might be under threat early on.
Bottom lane. King RD trying to chase down Universe there, but does have to be careful with SVG and his side. Starting to throw out the Fire Spirits. Oh, will he find him? Does get the debuff on him, and that's going to limit some of the heal from the south. CS-wise, as you can see, the mid lane, 9 for 4 in Excalibur, taking the lead against Weehar's Alk in the first few waves, as expected, for the hero matchup that they have. And top lane, Resolutions on his Drow. He's certainly getting pressured. You know, Tavo and Misery are sort of shaking him up enough that he's not getting perfect CS on this top lane.
No, and they're even doing some like double deny shenanigans as well there between Misery and Tavo, so just trying to take away as much as possible, but even the threat on the Misery, a couple frost arrows is enough to drive him back.
Yeah, one of the big ways that paiN can really hold on in this game is if they don't get punished too hard themselves in the lanes, if they don't find the struggle too much against this Drow, or sort of giving the buff to both Resolutions sort of in that middle lane. SVG as well is going to have that extra bit of right click for the harassment. If they can hold, they can keep this game going, get Weehard to a point where he can back into the jungle, start to farm up. They do have a shot, but it's going to be tough. Mid lane, with the sort of uncontested farm that Excalibur can get on the TA, he is on track for sure to hit all those key item timings to really take over the game as a Templar Assassin.
Yeah, very passive at the moment. I mean, you've got the top lane, they're pulling for paiN with the hard camp. Bottom lane, pulling with the support Ursa. And in the mid lane, Alchemist is running the jungle to stack some neutrals, so. Easy TP out there, not gonna find our first blood quite yet. Support Ursa is kind of interesting in this one. Against a Drow strat, like getting kited and everything. I guess it didn't look like the Ursa's game was going to be very good if it was a core, so that's kind of why it gets shifted over to the support. But up against that the axe, like that pure damage from the counter helix is very scary. Considering you always just want to like face tank everything from an enemy hero and just wail on them with the Fury Swipes. Not as easy anymore. And you don't have that 20-second threat permanently, which is a big part of this hero working for support.
Tavo actually going to get first blood onto Resolution.
Way
Not the
under
lane that you
tower,
expect
too.
it to be, but as we saw earlier, MSS was forced to TP out of that lane, leaving Resolution on his own, and paiN Gaming, first blood.
Yeah, 2 points in the Fire Blast. Looks like used to secure that one too. Seen a couple Ogres lately feeling like they're maxing out that Ignite just for the lane, but I really like it for the Fire Blast because it feels like you can do so much out of the lane when you have this.
We'll see in the mid lane, Weehard deciding that it's already too tough in the 1v1. He's got to head over and clear up some neutrals, but SVG's got his number. He's there, as well as Excalibur coming across. They'll steal some of the jungle creeps away from Weehard. Top lane, an attempt from MSS. He goes in with the shackles onto Tavo. The Tavo's beefy, turns with the Fire Blast and the Ignite. The Curse also on MSS, ticking him down. Resolution, changing target, looking for Misery, slowing him with those early levels of Frost Arrows. It's not enough slow, though, at this stage. As Misery keeps the distance, Forward unable to sort of get the kill onto either of these two heroes at the moment, as Tavo just that little bit too beefy on that Ogre Magi. That's bottom lane farm, as we can see, looking very good for HFN and his Weaver, second highest in CS.
Well, it's good. It's going well for someone on paiN right now. I mean, I guess Tavo, but it is an Ogre, so it doesn't really scale the same way in terms of those last hits. You're really wishing your Alchemist had more than 13 at the moment. I feel like he was sat on 12 for the longest time, and it's just now starting to get some. At the very least, he'll find the Mud Golems, which is one of the best things that you can get with an Alchemist. Lots of points in there for the Grievous Greed.
Top, and make another attempt onto Tavo.
Guy's
And though
taking
he is
no
so big, he can just
damage.
turn. He won't start charging towards Rezo, as he is pretty low at the moment, Tavo. But again, very hard for the two of them, Resolution and MSS, to kill this Ogre at this point. They just don't have the damage to punch through that 14 armor that he's holding onto when he's underneath that tier 1 tower.
Man, I feel like one of the best things that they can do in this game for paiN is maybe try and contest the Roche Pit, try and slow down this TA, because this TA is guaranteed out of control
The
at
TA
this point.
is certainly going to be the big problem come big game.
44 last hits, 22 denies. I mean, it doesn't get a lot better than that at this point in the game. So you know that she's going to be going for this early Roche, getting this early Blink and Deso. And at least the one thing about TA is that they're very, directional. You understand exactly what the hero needs to do to succeed, so perhaps you can try and plan around that. But I don't know if they have the heroes to fight around that pit. It's going to be a very dicey fight for them.
Absolutely fighting into sort of the egg, the potential axe call, the shaman wards.
Then you start thinking things like, well, can they sneak the Roche, try and deny it away, but this Ursa's a support, so that makes it rather difficult.
He is getting dove upon it. Trap slow coming in, SVG dives back down, and with Excalibur punching in to the Ursa, they will find him. Ticks down to the Fire Spirits of SVG. As Forward Gaming get themselves their first kill on the board. He is underneath the tower though. Excalibur, Misery, will punch back quite a bit. Might be enough to find the kill.
is found out here too by SVG. He's going to try and TP out.
Oh, is he going to make it? He is! Just gets back to the fountain in time. As Weehart will survive, but SVG just being this nuisance, sort of stopping Weehart from being able to find the space that he needs to catch up.
He accidentally stacks his camp though. Maybe not the best for SVG.
That's a tier 1 tower gone as well in the mid. More money, more gold and success for Excalibur. 53 and 24 CS, but still HFN, he really is having uncontested farm to a similar level down bottom. This Weaver will be on track to hit all the item timings, and we'll just see who's able to sort of have the bigger impact. SVG still in the same place where he was earlier, hanging on paiN's half of the map. Getting the vision onto Misery, they'll try and lead in. Is there going to be any sort of TPs coming through for Misery? There will not be. As he dies too quickly, Excalibur picks up the kill and continues his reign in the middle as this Templar Assassin.
Not the way you usually see SVG play, right? This guy's playing all aggressive, up inside that Radiant territory. I mean, he's usually the passive guy who's sitting next to a Drow Ranger in a situation like this, and maybe you have MSS on a hero like that. So very impressive stuff from SVG, kind of adjusting to what the hero has to do in this match and giving more space over to his Axe. And Universe has not been suffering from this, right? 0-0-0, hasn't died or anything in the lane, despite this Weaver having some free farm. And that means their off lane is going to be doing a lot better.
That's all. They're looking to try and dive in onto Rezo. Rezo turns with a quick gust, goes for the TP out. Do they have the damage to take him in time? They don't. Rezo escapes. MSS has been left back. He does have the shackles as TPs are coming in. Shackling King RD underneath the tower. The Battle Hunger out as well as Universe comes through with the TP, held back by the Fire Blast. But MSS will find the kill onto King RD. MSS goes for the TP out. Will he be able to make it? He does. Gets back to the fountain. Will not tick out. As the fountain regen keeps him alive.
Give him
and Universe, he's looking for more. Trying to chase down Tavo. Gets another spin. The Battle Hunger ticking Tavo down. And Universe with this rotation, will he get it? Chases it down. The damage is there from the Battle Hunger. as Universe comes in just at the right time with that TP to make sure that Forward Gaming don't lose anyone off the back of that dive from paiN Gaming and are able to take 2 kills in return.
If Templar Assassin is farming there, you have problems. I mean, she's inside your jungle right now. There's a tier 1, there's a tier 2. Universe, a fantastic rotation to ensure the escape of both of his allies, then grab a kill on the way out. Definitely cannot ask for much more than that. And it is still just under a 1K lead right now for the side of Forward Gaming, and it's not even tilted that heavily by the Alchemist right now.
Will pick themselves up and up as Misery, caught out on the wrong side of the map. SVG and Resolution taking down the Silencer, bottom lane. HFN and King RD trying to play aggressive onto MSS, but he's keeping himself right by the tier 2.
At least.
Should be able to finish off this tier 1 tower though, and get more money into HFN's pocket as he keeps on par with the CS at the TA.
Yeah, I just go back to like, who would I rather have this gold line right now, like a Weaver or a TA, and it feels like the TA to me, but HFN, maybe he can prove me wrong, try and find some plays, and see if he can help Weehaw just get something done, but for now, looking very dangerous. They've commit some vision down near the Weehaw's jungle camps. He's still not even level 7. See, it farms up this wave mid. And MSS just leeching bottom to get 6.
Tavo, he's going to find a bit of a nasty surprise as he tries to go for the 10-minute rune. Universe and Resolution looking to chase him down. The Gust comes out. Universe just looking to close the gap, get the core to drag him back in. Backups there from Misery and also a TP in from HFN. But they've already lost the Ogre, and HFN and Misery will not be able to slow down and chase down even members of Forward. So another kill for Forward Gaming.
Although it's disappointing that you make the TP there and you don't get a return kill as the Weaver, at the very least, he's already taken that bottom tower. He's going to give that lane over to the Ursa so they can try and have an impact to the support Ursa that desperately needs some farm, some gold, some levels. And now he's going to try and transition this Weaver into pressuring that top tower instead. But they've got 3 heroes nearby, and they're going to bring Tavo back up too.
Gust can't quite get in range for the call to have that follow-up disable. So HFN able to Shikuchi to safety.
Jeez, King RD is just stuck down here in the tree line too. He can't even farm half this wave because he's too scared by MSS dropping the snakes and killing him.
Tavo staying hidden, SVG. Center of the Fire Spirits, Tavo looking for the Fire Blast, but SVG keeps the distance. It's a bit of an awkward position now. You do have Tavo and HFN here in the same lane. They want to make something happen. Misery actually already TPing out.
He's trying to deal with the snakes and the catapult wave down bottom.
Blast comes through, Resolution. Pressing in. Misery indeed will just try and farm at these walls, try and slow down the push, but the tower will still go down. Resolution takes the last touch, top lane, and go on to Universe. They're poking at him. They still don't want to dive it. They respect the fact that University's got 11-1 charges, and they cannot dive and get on top of him too close as a call will come through. A couple of spins and HFN will fall. So backs off, retreats, or whilst this is happening, Weehaw, he is starting to get that space to catch up.
Credit to Weehaw, he's up to almost 6,200 gold at this point, closing in on a relic.
It's not going to be the fastest relic, of course, on Alchemist, but considering the lane that he had at the start and sort of the very slow sort of 5 minutes of gameplay he's had, this is not a bad recovery at all on the Alchemist.
There was a Templar Assassin and a Phoenix just basically playing as Radiant heroes. So I think considering that situation and being denied so much of the map and things like this, definitely having a good time so far. Yeah, that heat map there, that's a Radiant TA right there.
Top lane MSS could set up something nice here with the Invis as you go straight with the Hex. Shackle to follow up. Universe trying to get him with the call with the Fire Blast. Is he going to interrupt it? It is not. Universe still gets the call off, has the control to catch HFN, make sure he can't time lapse out. And with the slow on to Tavo with that Battle Hunger, they'll chase down, burst down the Ogre as well.
Meanwhile,
that Invis rune's setting up for a beautiful double kill for Forward Gaming.
We hit Excalibur just farming Radiant Ancients, and Misery walks up there and just dies. So not only is TA stealing away your Ancient Gold, but gets a freebie with a support too. And SVG continues to sit upon his perch over here, just warding up the area.
That's a big item timings for Forward Gaming to keep playing at the tempo they wish. They've got the Blink Dagger finished on Universe after those 2 kills he was involved in, and the
Misery,
full Desolator
he just
on
came
the
back.
TA. He'll pop the Global Silence. TPs are coming through. HFN and the gang ready to try and turn. They'll get the pugs out to the 3 of them with the Silence as well. They'll creep down the Phoenix. No chance for SVG to dive out. They're not done yet. paiN wanting to make Forward pay more for this as they'll get the chase onto Universe, trying to turn and slow with the Battle Hunger, but there's the curse coming out from Misery. As HFN keeps onto the target, picks up the double kill, paiN Gaming strike back. As Forward Gaming stick around a little too long, a little too deep on paiN's half of the map.
Very much needed there. Had to try and get HFN into this game, trying to exert some force on some of these dire heroes. And we'll get it there. And a nice pick, too. The fact that you're able to get not just that Phoenix, but the Axe as well. And that's going to force SVG to just say, okay, yeah, maybe I need to find myself a lane.
Look at that record there as well, Trent. 4 minutes and 37 faster than that we've seen at this event. We have had 7 TA matches at 13 minutes and 3 seconds. Desolator. And look, what we've got to do now is just see what Excalibur can do with this, because now the pressure is on him. He's hit this sort of incredible item timing. He's going to be very close to having the blinking factor as well on top of it, so he looks like he'll sort of chill out, continue to farm until he has both of those items. And sort of having these at easily this pre-20-minute mark, he is going to be absolutely deadly. One sort of disable, whether it be a call or a hex or a shackle, and there'll be more than enough time for Excalibur to get on top of a target and just blow them up with the immense physical damage he'll offer.
I really like the choice to go for the Deso first here, too. It puts an instant Roche threat instead of just going for like the Blink Dagger and looking for kills and exerting some force across that Radiant side of the map. Rather than that, he's just sticking with the Deso, farming up all of the Ancient Camps, and just constantly funneling more gold into himself as if he's the Alchemist. And he has to wait for his allies to be ready to play with him anyway. Like, the Phoenix didn't have Egg by the time he could have bought Blink. The Axe didn't have Blink at the time, so he went back, he's going to farm up harder, and now his Blink timing will be here relatively soon, and he can play with this Axe who now has Blink and this Phoenix who now has Egg.
The smoke. See where they're going to find Tavo on the high ground.
They want HFN.
That would be the big one. They will settle for Tavo there as they look to go in with the Hex, the Shackle. Get Tavo, but that will mean that the information is there for HFN to keep his distance. Make sure that he doesn't get caught out.
Oh, King RD, he went for these bounties.
With the TP, I'll get away with it. Picks them both up for the team and gets out of there. Good escape from King RD.
Those bounties are so important when you're playing with an Alchemist on your team.
And I mean, at this point of the game, sure, it's 10 to 3, 15 minutes in. I feel like the way the panel was saying as well, they would have probably expected Forward Gaming to be a little further ahead at this stage. But paiN Gaming, they're holding us. Sure, they have sort of the inflated network of this Alchemist who is now in trouble as the call comes through. I say he's in trouble, he's got the ult off, and in fact, with the global silence and the TPs, it's actually going to be Forward there to back away. They'll turn towards Universe, they've got the Ignite on him, slowing him down, making sure that there's no blink to allow him escape. He does have the Gust from Resolution, offering some time for him.
God, the death ball.
Surely that's not going to be enough to keep him safe, and it isn't. The curse is upon him. Rezo gets out, but Universe will not. As I really feel like paiN against this Drow lineup, they're not doing bad at all in this early game.
No, that was just a vicious mob of Radiant heroes. Like, they see the TA, they see the Axe, and they just all instantly dive for the Axe. Like, you really want that kill on the TA, but I think they just saw that was going to be an easier opportunity on the Universe instead. And there's no real threat of return kill there, so.
Forward, they're still trying to push. This is without the Axe.
Oh, they want to use those snakes. This is dangerous.
They're pushing the issue for 10 seconds still without Universe down here.
He got the blink on Excalibur, but there is an Urn too.
The silence, we are. Oh, he managed to get the ult off. He turns, he's got the concoction, heads forward, but he has to be careful. Universe tries for the blink call, doesn't find it. The battle hunger's upon Weehart, but he's got that regeneration going for the chemical rage, so he does not need to worry about going down. And in fact, it's Resolution who's in trouble as HFN on top of him with that diffusal blade offering a lot of damage. Excalibur, he's trying to come in from behind, but you cannot force this fight. He will pop the refraction, is able to blink away. MSS does finish off Tavo, but overall is paiN Gaming again taking the team fight as Universe beat down by HFN as this Weaver is becoming a big problem for Forward.
So the problem there was that the two dire supports for Forward Gaming, they're in that Radiant jungle, just Tavo's chasing after MSS, and he's just beating him down as this ogre, and he almost gets the kill, and they have to turn around, they drop the snakes, and they get the kill, but what does that mean? You got both supports dealing with an ogre, and then the rest of your team's trying to fight. Don't have a lot of your control elements there, especially when Universe is the one who went down pretty early with that deeper dive.
And I really just feel like the sort of the way that HFN has been able to involve himself in each of these fights has been absolutely impeccable. And it's not an easy game for the Weaver. Sure, he got a quick diffusal blade timing, but there's a lot of things for him to be scared of. These silences coming out from the Drow, the lockdown from the Shaman, the catch from the Axe.
You should just be dead.
And he's dead.
Yeah.
But as it is, I believe he's only died once this match. He's been involved in 5 of the 6 kills, and he is farming like an absolute madman. He's got the money for the Dragonlance on top of the diffusal. This guy's a problem.
Yeah, and most importantly, they picked a very, very greedy hero. Support Ursa, I mean, this thing's pretty hard to make work, but he's just about to have that Blink Dagger, and then he finally becomes a hero. He really wants the Basher afterwards, of course, too, but the chaos that he can create in an engagement for an Alchemist just, exponentially increases once you have this Blink. And honestly, this Roche, I thought it was going to be so free for Forward with the lead that they were starting to build and all of this freedom for Excalibur in the mid lane, but they look a little timid towards the pit.
I do. They got these crazy item timings on Excalibur. Did they do enough with it?
They want to try and find a pick. Maybe that'll nail them to go. Oh, there's a courier. Nice dunk there from Universe. Great scout. That is the Manta recipe. I mean, that's an item that, honestly, if he's completed, he might just buy another recipe. That is definitely a worthy item to just go for it. You don't want to wait that whole time. You'll make the money back just having it.
They did sort of hesitate there as well forward. They went into the pit, but immediately backed out. They're going to go for the smoke around in the middle lane. They want to catch HFN. He is their biggest sort of issue in the team fight, so they can get that lockdown, but HFN keeps the distance with the Shikuchi. There's that Blink Dagger out onto King RD, as you say, so that extra sort of scare potential if he gets himself on top of a hero. As forward, still unable to find sort of that play that they're hunting for.
Oh, they need to actually get this Manta out for Weehaw. It's like so good for the hero. He's just gonna start making more money. Like someone needs to go to base and just like pick up a new recipe for him so he can pick up an ultimate orb. Because this current one is dead on the courier.
Shadowblade on resolution now. Should keep him a little safer in these fights when you sort of see the Weaver try and make a go for him, HFM.
And right there, like you can see the punishment from the courier, right? Weehaw just walks the entire way back from the secret shop to the base because he wants another recipe. He's just gonna sell the ones on the courier, you know, sack the 250 gold, whatever, half the recipe costs. But he should be at this bounty rune fight right now, and now he's gonna be late. Like, at the very least, forward weren't quite in the right moment. And they will still get it, so 2 for 2 as they secured the bottom ones with MSS and Rezo. But I mean, that could have been like an aggressive opportunity for paiN perhaps, if it wasn't for that courier snipe by Universe.
Do you sort of feel that it's understandable why Forward Gaming have sort of slowed down things themselves? I mean, as I say, it feels like, are they doing enough with this TA? The fact that Excalibur had such a good boost at the start, had a free lane, he gets this great timing on the Blink and the Desolator. Does he sort of have to wait until he has the BKB to fight, or do you think they realistically could actually try and make more happen at this stage of the game?
I think they did try to. They just missed a couple of those big calls, and then at that point, you start to hesitate because you're like, you know, this Weaver, we don't catch him right away. Then there's going to be some problems, like we haven't really had a good setup for a Supernova or anything yet. So I understand why they're backing up. They just want to go for that next timing, and they're going to try again. So they're going to be looking for the BKB for Excalibur, and that'll be their decision to when they want to play aggressive once more.
Quick sweep of the map with the smoke. Excalibur, the only member of Forward up on this half of the map, has TP'd out. So paiN won't catch anyone out today. Forward.
Looks like they're not sure what to do right now. Like Universe and MSS just mulling about near that tier 2. Looks like they want to smoke, but they don't have one. All right, SVG's bring one over, so perhaps this will be the time. And they're going to go down. They're going to link up with Rezo there and try and push the tower with this catapult wave. He has already used the Drought Aura. He's going to back away visibly from the wave. Maybe try and bait inside of paiN to come to this tower as they start moving through.
BKB for Excalibur, just about 500 gold on. So once he has that, those 3 components, the Blink, the Deso, and the BKB, we can certainly expect to see
Blink out, baby.
Force the issue. Yeah,
this is just the best. I mean, this hero is so scary when you have Blink Manta Radiance.
And they're going to get away with this Roche, I think, aren't they? SVG is coming over, but of course, as the swipes stack up, paiN...
They already used the snakes to take that tier 2 bottom. There's a lot of pressure on this egg and this call from Uni.
They know what's up, but Weehaw, there's the Blink, the concoction straight out, that's the Phoenix Scott. He does have a buyback if they want to come back in and commit the Supernova.
You can't fight this. I mean, MSS, you have no snakes. You wish you did, so you could actually put some pressure. He's just trying to keep the catapult alive for a little bit longer.
But they're gonna
That's what they're going to get here instead. It's like 3 shots onto a tier 3.
paiN.
Absolutely devastating here
for
Forward
goodness.
Gaming. paiN have really found a way.
They really are. I mean, I've seen this out. He's top net worth by a good, healthy amount. This is exactly where Weehaw needs and hopes to be. He recovered from a tough laning situation, you know, just doing out things, going to the jungle, being able to find the camps, despite as well Forward's best attempts to sort of invade his half of the map. You can see sort of compared to the average net worth of an Alchemist. Sure, this game's nothing crazy, but it's nothing too crazily below the average. He's still sitting around that mark.
Yeah.
I really feel it's getting into scary territory for Forward. Surely they feel that they should have been in a much better position considering their draft that, you know, was favored so much by the panel. They had this Drow lineup. They had Excalibur having an incredible lane, but paiN, they've absolutely got the chance to take this game.
Yeah, maybe some things were a little greedy, like the Blink first before finishing up the Vanguard for Universe, for example, something like that, where it's...
He's just starting to rack up the kills now. With this Blink Dagger, a second pickoff, as he comes in, closing towards that BKB, as he really wants to get involved with these sort of plays, because I think paiN realized, hang on, you know, Forward Gaming, they didn't really hit the timing that they were drafting for. We can abuse that by just fighting back at this point of the game where they've realized that Forward, they're a little scared. And paiN Gaming, they want to utilize that aggression that paiN is so good at playing with to punish it. His top lane. King RD jumps in, Global Silence comes out. They cannot escape on the Drows. Resolution's dead. SVG falls as well as paiN just continuing to make these incredible plays left, right, and center, up and down the map. And it really feels, I feel like we haven't seen Forward do anything in the last sort of 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's understandable. I mean,
look at
they're
this.
playing really well here from the side of paiN too. Like this Silencer hero, he's fallen off quite a bit. Leading up into this tournament, he's like a really top pick, and then slowly, you know, less and less games for him. But when was he picked the most in the past? It was like Storm Spirits and Bat Riders, where you're hopping in and initiating. A play like that with the Weaver and the Ursa, like it looks so good with the global.
Excalibur has to be forced to BKB here. Has to get back up, but that's a BKB charge gone on Excalibur.
That's a 10-second BKB. It's not a good sign.
And sure, Excalibur hasn't died this game. He's farmed perfectly, but has there been any point in this game, do you feel, where paiN have said to themselves, this TA is scary? I don't think they're scared of this TA at all at the moment.
I mean, I'm sure it felt a little scary when she was just like farming the entire radiant part of the map with that Phoenix, but they didn't really link up with everything else. But here's that initiation that we're talking about there, with that like instant global silence. You hop in like that, and then the Weaver pops through, just absolutely perfect.
And just getting caught out, separated from one another Forward. As paiN Gaming continue to find these kills after kills. There's a full Hurricane Pike done on HFN. You see King RD really getting into it here. He can really feel the momentum that they're bringing us now in a game where they're up against the Drow Strap, but paiN Gaming, they're outside of the base of Forward.
And I mean, maybe it gets a little scary going high ground if Universe can find the right pick, but it's not really terrifying. It's not like this overwhelming team fight or anything that I'm scared of, especially if any of those cooldowns get used from Forward Gaming. There's a pretty real chance this Bloodlusted Alchemist just runs right up into their tier 3s.
I mean, what is the plan? What is the plan for Forward, do you feel? Can they sort of sit back and farm? It feels like sort of an uphill struggle. You're doing it against an Alchemist. We are, as we say, is absolutely on track with the timings that he wants to hit now as we move towards sort of this mid-game.
Yeah, it's tough because like you feel like you want one of these heroes on this bottom lane, like this Xiao Shaman or something, to be constantly pushing that out. You want someone to be playing really greedy, but they're all just balled together because they know that paiN are just constantly looking for these fights.
They'll find Tavo. Tavo will be left behind by the rest of the team.
Okay, good grab first. Completely alone. Nice start. Meanwhile, Excalibur also just maybe a bit dicey there mid, but it's only going to end up being Weehaw, who's within range, but the Basher is done for the Ursa. I mean, this is just a core Ursa at this point,
It really
honestly.
is. King RD, if he jumps in the fight, gets on top of someone, he's going to have that disable, and he's going to have that potential to just delete one of the members of Forward Gaming out of the fight.
I really like these 3.5 drafts when they work out like this, where you have this hero that starts off as like the core in the lane because he's very strong, like an ogre, but then you relegate more of the farm over to this support hero.
And look at this jump. Weehaw. With that vision, they have that ward, that sentry. It is about to wear off. He is going to try and chase down Rezo. The global silence coming through as well. The Radiance continues to tick down Resolution. The concoction again coming out of the Resolution. And MSS will drop the wards, but he's not going to save him. Excalibur trying to find something in return. They did get the silence, but now the BKB's worn off. Weehaw with the third concoction ready to continue to chase. SVG trying to help out with the Sunray heal. The Alder's worn off on Weehaw, but the damage is going to be there from HFN. We are getting the triple kill with the Radiance turn. Trying for another concoction. The Egg's going to come out. Can they take that Egg down in time? HFN, he'll do it. Gets the Egg. 5 dead on Forward Gaming. As this game, I hate to say the panel was horribly wrong, but I think it doesn't look like Forward's got a single chance.
Drow lineups are the most execution-heavy lineups of anything in Dota. I mean, sure, there's some very niche stuff that's also very difficult to execute, but when it comes to Drow, like, you can't mess up, because the way Dota works, with comeback mechanics and experience and gold, whenever you die, it heavily feeds back into your opponent.
See this again, this fight. I mean, we are...
Yeah, perfect location on the blink there. Like, faded out silence.
Oh my goodness.
Onto just Misery. And Weehaw just gets the run down right after.
This Alk and Weaver a big old problem.
Yeah.
And look, here comes Excalibur with his scary BKB Deso blink. He gets the silencer, but then that's it. That's all he can do.
I mean, at the very least, SVG got the kill onto Weehaw in the end, so he almost got a Midas recipe worth of gold. He'll be picking up a Spirit Vessel, and maybe that'll be giving them at least one option versus the Alk, but he's gone for a BKB Manta. Yeah. Spirit Vessel is just not going to do anything to him in this game.
The King looking for kills. He's a little bit deep there. Jumps into 5 heroes, does have Tavo Misery by his side. the fire blast down to one of them, but this is not a fight that paiN want to take. It's now Forward are able to punish the mistakes of paiN. They'll get two. Get Tavo and King RD. As paiN may be getting a little carried away with that fortune that they've had so far, and now they may even lose even more. There's going to be a buyback from the Ursa. We are jumping with the Concoction. They'll get the Shaman. The buyback to the TPs into the Shrine and coming through. As the call from Universe buys him some sort of armor, but the Radiant still ticks him down. The Concoction back up. Universe held in place as Weehaw claims the double kill, and HFN's not done. He forces forward with a Hurricane Pike. Shikuching over towards SVG. Another Concoction coming in, chasing down that dive as Weehaw hits the shot. Triple kill for this Alchemist. As we are, as I say, sure, this mid lane matchup, Excalibur, he had a great time on the TA, but the rest of the game, we are is all smiles, and Excalibur just looks lost.
He's about half the man that we are is at this point.
It really does feel like that. What does he do? What can he do to stop this? As paiN, they're pressuring the high ground. Buybacks have to come out from both Excalibur and SVG in order to try and hold this.
I do love the way that they tried to play aggressive. Like, you have to take risks at this point for forward gaming, right? So they dive into those shrines, trying to force buybacks, then you got to get out. But the chase at this point is very good for paiN. I mean, you got a Weaver, you got a Blink on both an Alchemist and an Ursa, so very hard to get out of those scenarios. And that just kind of puts, it's as if that fight never happened. We're just like back up to the exact same lead.
You see this as well from Archangel, aka HFN, having a fantastic performance. As he's nearly sort of a solid 5k ahead where it normally would be, and we have
all 4 bounties with an Alchemist draft. Just 30 minutes.
My goodness, the goal just continuing to rack in for paiN as they lead 18,000. See that goal gain there, quite the difference from those bounty runes with the way that paiN have controlled and have that bonus with the Alchemist in terms of taking them. As Forward, I mean, how do Forward slow this? How do they swing this one round forward? Playing from behind with this Drow lineup, what do they do? What's their best bet?
Terrifying. I mean, best bet is that maybe they can finish the Blade Mail onto Universe, and he's going for it next. One of the better options to try and turn around a heavy net worth lead from your opponent back onto themselves, but other than that, it's a little bit of a split push. I mean, what else can you do, right? You try and keep these waves pushed out, try and keep paiN off your base. Highly unlikely you can contest the next Roche. It's going to be coming up here relatively soon. I think they're just going to have to give that one up, and you just got to look to cut some creeps.
And who's these Ags going to? I imagine he's going to give it to HFN? Yeah. Ags on the Weaver now, so
good.
I mean, we've already seen how aggressive Weehaw has been so far. Now he can afford to do it because he's going to have the second life.
Oh, it's so devastating to play against. Like, you think you're going to get it with his axe, right? It's so important during that Blade Mail timing. If they're ever going to kill either HFN or Weehaw, it's going to be dependent on that. But now the reduced cooldown and targeting allies just so good.
It's paiN. Just full control really of the map at this point. Back into Roshan. Now Forward, very unlikely to be able to do anything about this. They're nowhere near. And paiN can take this down very quickly indeed. This Roche as well, pushing King RD close to the money to have sort of half the BKB at least. As a Desolator as well on HFN, so adding to that sieging and pushing potential that they can now offer as they are getting closer and closer to being able to just look to break the high ground. And not really to have to be worried about anything at all, other than you said. The only thing they've got to be scared of is sort of these big axe calls coming out into the supernovas. That's sort of the only thing that's really threatening paiN's lineup at this point. Yeah,
it's still just level 15 on the Phoenix though, so it doesn't have the extra 3 attacks, and every little bit's gonna help up against an Alchemist and an Ursa. That's a real rough egg to try and get off. That thing's getting scrambled every single time. And they're just continuing to assert their dominance here in terms of vision. Might even see a gem come out here too soon for paiN if they won't play it real safe. Misery will pay for this one though. Pretty easy peasy grab.
They get themselves a silencer. Level 25 on HFN.
Goodness.
That extra movement speed can make him even harder.
And that just gives him such good positioning too for the ulti with the Aghanims. It's like, how do you ever catch someone alone when this guy can just zip over there and suddenly give him an egg save? Oh, maybe Tavo.
He's going to drag back onto Tavo, but HFN's there, and King RD just jumps straight forward onto SVG, bashing him down, so there's no chance for an egg. They've got the damage as well onto Universe, as that's going to be both the Axe and the Phoenix out of the fight. No buyback on SVG, as HFN's not done. Moves in, takes the kill onto the Shaman. Resolution, he's trying to retreat back to the high ground, but King RD's in with the bash, sets up the triple kill for HFN. And this game, I have to say, paiN have played this absolutely perfectly. As forward, I feel that this may be sort of the result of having to play with a stand-in, this sort of coordination that a team like paiN is going to have. It's going to be hard to match on the main stage, and I feel that's really what we're feeling, sort of the disconnect this game. The forward gaming had a good start, but they weren't really able to do much with it. Can they do something here? They've got the silence of the Weaver, but he's still able to force himself to the side. He starts to turn, jump in for King ID. He's got the bash onto Excalibur. Excalibur will fall. Forward gaming pushed back to the base. This game is over.
Yeah.
This game is over. GG is called as paiN take the game. And this is the magic. We've seen this from sort of paiN before. When it comes to playing on the stage in front of a live crowd, you saw King RD's smiles there. He was getting hyped up this game. And this is what you've got to be scared of. This sort of team, we see them struggle. We see them make mistakes when it comes to playing online, when it comes to playing without a crowd in front of them, but they turn up on the stage and then they just whip out this performance that can just defeat even sort of this situation where it looked like this Drow draft was going to be incredible. They had this Drow strat. We know that forward gaming can be very strong with it, but he just fell apart. It did feel, they're not a full team. There's going to be that struggle having this last-minute stand-in. You're never going to have sort of that coordination that a team as paiN is going to have, that paiN have obviously built up for a lot longer coming into this LAN. It was a tough game.
It's very important with execution. We pointed that out with the Drow lineup, but all credit to paiN, honestly. Like,
yeah.
That's a really hard game. Like, it looked like it was gonna be super solid for them because like they're pressuring in so deep. Excalibur's just there blocking Weehaw away from all his camps. Yeah, I mean the entire mid lane belonged to forward. It's incredible that Weehaw managed to find so much farm, basically taking his top jungle and sneaking across to his bottom jungle to try and farm there without getting picked off by this Templar assassin. So, I mean, all credit to them, but they had to find a better way to actually take that net worth from this TA and transfer it into like map control and victory for themselves.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, what a game one.
Yeah, very impressive.
From paiN, as forward are definitely going to have to switch things up and come back with a totally different idea and approach the game in game two, because Drow strats are not going to cut it on the main stage against paiN Gaming.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Owen and Trent, with the commentary on game number one. Of course, we'll return there for game number two, and who knows, maybe even game three. Certainly forward are going to have to step up if they want to take it that far, though. It is right now in paiN's favour. Back in our panel, where there's at least one smug view on display, because not only did he call the draft exactly how it was, but he also predicted a paiN Gaming win. Well done, William.
Thank you. And most importantly was how confident I was that they would win. Thank you, Kyle.
No problem.
100% forward gaming right here. That's what you said at the end of it. 100% forward gaming.
Even a broken clock is right.
Twice a day.
You know what I learned is that, like, while you usually shouldn't bet against forward gaming when they have a draw strategy, you never bet against William Lee when he's got something spiteful to make sure it happens. He just willed that win just through pure spiteful energy. As he said, he was going to spite predict paiN. That's exactly what happened.
Joking aside, let's talk about the performance. There were some questionable performances in this one. Resolution, we expected him to stand up. We want him to stand up when he's playing a Drow as well. And he didn't play to where we know he can play. Excalibur also, I think Owen made a great comment during the commentary. He said he looks lost.
Yeah.
I mean, he did look lost.
He had a completely free laning phase. He had more denies than the Alk when Alk started to go jungle, but I just didn't feel his impact on the map. Like, I want him to be playing aggressive in enemy jungle at almost all times. Like, I think he was farming his own ancient camps, like stacking, doing, I call like the, you know, the triple camp on the bottom Dire Shrine, like that masturbatoria. You just go there and it doesn't do anything for your team, but it makes you feel good. And that's just too selfish if you're trying to win in a very team-based meta right now. You gotta make space with that big advantage.
From a positive point of view, though, if Weehaw was good on the Alchemist, HFN on the Weaver, holy smokes, that was good.
Yeah, he got off to a very early start. He started making those plays around the map that maybe Kyle wanted to see out of Excalibur. He was very active. He knew he had to be able to create space for Weehaw. And then they also have this core Ogre that is also able to come online really early. The pair of them just kind of tanked the team throughout the entire map, just finding kills and creating space.
Yeah, 13-1-5 for a Weaver that didn't fit properly, Will.
Yeah, I mean, I was told that Dro hard counters Weaver, and Cap, being the fool that he is,
I didn't say anything.
The country bumpkin that he is,
Excuse
just followed
me?
around. He's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't say anything. That was Kyle who said that that Dro definitely counters Weaver.
Definitely.
He definitely does. He's just
not
Dota's
HFN's
complicated,
Weaver.
all right? It's not about just one hero versus another, all right? It's a team game.
Can we talk about the core switch up,
Just
though?
like,
I mean, that was the part that was super important, right? Because both Weaver and Ursa as cores would have lost their lane. They wouldn't have been able to pressure the Drow Ranger, but instead you have this core Ogre that actually does very well at being able to pressure the Drow Ranger, comes online early as well. I think it was a just brilliant choice by paiN.
And I like it a lot because you don't want to run. Ursa, Clinks, these type heroes, they counter Phoenix, but it's somewhat counterintuitive because it means that one of the heroes responsible for dealing a ton of damage is now wasting auto attacks mid-fight to kill an egg. Support Ursa doesn't have that problem, and in addition, an Ogre that gets over-leveled, you love getting that level 10 talent ASAP, 90 GPM, and in addition, your levels benefit the Ursa. That relationship doesn't go the other direction.
All right, good stuff. Let's get some more from our man at the Weatherman station right now. Purge, it's all yours.
Hey guys, going to be looking at how the laning stage went for Alk, which was not very good. He left almost immediately, headed to the jungle, and SVG did a great job reducing the amount of easy last hits he got. He even had some rotations from TA coming over to prevent him from getting last hits, so he was abnormally underfarmed for a typical game. They did a great job with that. SVG also moved around, putting wards down to spot where the Alk might be moving to, and again, zoned him from getting all the last hits, forcing him to teleport back to the base, and getting kills on any supports that showed up. These are pretty low-level heroes, though, only level 3 here on the Ursa in this case. So what basically ended up winning paiN game in the game is they ended up pressuring the top lane with the Weaver as well as the Ogre in this moment. By doing this, it forced some of Forward Gaming's heroes to go up there and to kill. And they were successful. They got a double kill here. So it looked fine. But in the meantime, Alchemist has just been ping-ponging between both of the neutral camps to get more and more farm. And what happened is that at this point in the game, we're 12 minutes in, and we still don't have a level 6 on the Phoenix. After this fight happened, 4 Forward Gaming heroes rotated all the way to the top tier 1 tower. They committed Serpent Wards, and the Phoenix got silenced before he was able to do anything. He dies without egging, and they lose all of that advantage. And what that ends up turning into is eventually we just have way more farm on Weeha. Oops, wrong tool. Way more farm on Weeha than we did before, where he was way behind. So just that one moment where they pressured the top lane and then ended up getting those double kills and buying time for Alk eventually gives them the Radiance, and then it's an easy win from there.
Good stuff, again, from Purge. Wonderfully broken down. I want to see a whole series of it, frankly. Kyle, thoughts?
Why don't you just say thanks, Purge, after that segment?
Why not?
So that's like, it just, never mind.
He already did it last time.
Yeah,
that's why. You
don't
can't repeat your
overdo it
jokes,
me.
unlike somebody else on the panel, Kyle.
Let's talk about the game 2.
Let's talk about game 2 in a moment. Let's do the MVP. Who's your MVP?
Is it Weeha for just farming up?
No.
I mean, he was a long way behind and he came back.
I think it's HFN for
isn't
creating
it?
the space in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And that's the strength of Weaver as well, is that if you have that nice start, you can, it's a core that can rotate, and there's so few of them, right? Like that's what we thought Complexity was missing in the previous series. Having a core that can get ahead and then influence the map, his other heroes, the other lanes, like it's so valuable.
There you go. HFN is the MVP for game number 1. 13, 1, and 5. Very deadly on the Weaver.
I really like his item build too. I think Diffusal's the go-to item you just have to pick up as a Weaver. And I really hate seeing Weavers skip treads as well. You don't need a Dragon Lance as long as you finish the full treads. It's plenty of strength. Getting the Aquila, and then as soon as you hit your Diffusal timing, it's really early, and you can make kills happen all over the map.
Okay, we're going to take a break. Thank you very much, gents. But we will get more from all 3 of them, and we will, as Kyle wanted to do, we'll talk about game 2 very shortly, because that's what's coming up after the break. Can paiN convert it and take it 2-0? We'll see soon.